Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And once again, I'm here to react to some major news from the world of Marvel Comics. Now, I try not to react to every major announcement they make, but when that announcement involves a wedding between two major characters, I definitely take notice. And when the two characters involved are the likes of Tony Stark and Emma Frost, well, I think a larger reaction is warranted. Because this isn't a tease. This isn't some crazy what-if story. This is happening in the mainline Marvel Comics. That means it carries weight. Even in a world full of clones, LMDs, and Skrull agents, an event like this is a big freaking deal. Now, I've said before in previous videos that I'm a big romance fan. And typically, I'm the kind of guy who celebrates wedding issues and major romantic subplots. Hell, at this very moment, there's a framed copy of the Cyclops Jean Grey wedding issue mounted on my wall. That superhero wedding was a big deal, a culmination of a love story that spanned years of high drama and heartfelt moments. But the story of Tony Stark and Emma Frost, well, it's still a big deal, but not for the same reason. Now, before I get too carried away with my overall reaction, I should add a bit of context. For one, this isn't coming completely out of nowhere. Emma and Tony do have a history, but it's not exactly a romantic history. Yes, they have hooked up. Yes, they have bonded over their shared love of money, sex, ego, and heroism. But to say their bond is on the same level as someone like Reed and Sue Richards, it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of both characters. Even in the announcement, writer Gary Dugan says it outright. These two are not the marrying type. They don't even seem ready or inclined to get married to anyone, let alone each other. But this is still happening. How it'll work, what it means for each character, and whether it'll last, that remains to be seen. And honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to the chaos, because this is the kind of relationship that can only ever be chaotic. If you know anything at all about Iron Man and Emma Frost, you know their personal lives have never been stable, to say the least. Yes, they have had their romantic entanglements, and some of those romances were quite serious. Tony Stark has dated the likes of Janet Van Dyne, Hellcat, Black Widow, and She-Hulk. Emma Frost has been romantically involved with Cyclops, Banshee, and Namor. But even in Emma's most serious relationship, she has never seemed inclined to get married, and neither has Tony Stark. It's not that they're incapable of love, they're just so fiercely independent, woefully short-sighted, and intensely self-centered. They can certainly love others and fall in love, but when it comes to them actually putting in the work for a successful relationship, it would require them to be too out of character. So that still begs the question, why is this happening and why now? Again, there is some context. This was actually teased 4 years ago in a comic called The History of the Marvel Universe #6, which also happened to tease major events like King in Black. But that tease did not result in any major romantic subplots between Tony and Emma. But their paths still did cross, albeit in less romantic ways. In the recent Invincible Iron Man comics, Tony Stark has completely lost control of his company to a new enemy, Fei Long. And, as it just so happens, Fei Long has a burning hatred of mutants that began shortly after the first Hellfire Gala. He's also become a major player in Orchis, the intensely anti-mutant, pro-human machine ascension organization. Taking Stark Industries has simply been part of his agenda. And while Emma and Tony have interacted a number of times in recent comics, very few of those interactions have been romantic in nature. There's been no simmering romantic tension, there hasn't been any flirting, flings, or hookups. There really is nothing to imply that this has been unfolding off-panel. And that leads me to believe that there's more to this than an excuse to have a big fancy wedding. Some are already speculating that this is largely a marriage of necessity. Again, Tony lost control of his company, but Emma Frost has the resources to help him get it back. And given that the X-Men have a shared enemy in Fei Long, this could be an extension of that partnership, a foundation of sorts for the X-Men and Avengers to work together against an emerging enemy. A few have even speculated that this marriage is just a way for Tony Stark to gain Krakoan citizenship, which would provide him a buffer against Fei Long and Orcus. Wouldn't even be unprecedented. In some more recent X-Men comics, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, actually managed to gain Krakoan citizenship by marrying a mutant, Typhoid Mary. So this could be part of it. Again, none of this is at all romantic, but it would fit some other concurrent plots. That leads me to believe that, unless this wedding ends badly, like the wedding between Kitty Pryde and Colossus, it probably won't last. I won't put a figure on it, but I don't suspect the wedding of Tony Stark and Emma Frost will go down as some heartfelt moment that'll resonate with Marvel fans for years to come. We really don't know what to expect. For now, we can only assume that, given the egos and bank accounts of Tony and Emma, it's going to be a hell of a ceremony. And it's destined to get very messy, both in terms of story and amongst the fans. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.